The promise of God had passed from Abraham to his son Isaac, and now to a woman named Rebekah. But the story of the next generation didn't begin with peace. It began with a struggle. Even before her sons were born, Rebekah could feel them fighting inside her. Day after day, the struggle grew stronger. She cried out to God, and the Lord answered her. 2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples will be separated from within you. One will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. When the time came, the first child was born red and covered with hair. They called him Esau. Then came his brother, gripping his heel, a sign of what was to come. They named him Jacob. From the moment they were born, Jacob and Esau were different in every way. Esau was red and rugged, wild like the fields he loved to hunt. He was strong, impulsive, and quick to act. He lived for the moment, chasing the thrill of the hunt, the taste of food, the praise of his father. Jacob was quiet, thoughtful, often found near the tents with his mother, Rebekah. He was clever, always thinking ahead, always watching. But his heart often leaned toward schemes and shortcuts, trying to grab with his hands what God had already promised. Their parents' love was divided. Isaac favored Esau, the strong and adventurous one. Rebekah loved Jacob, the quiet and careful one. And from that division, a rivalry grew. But long before either of them could choose their path, God had already spoken to Rebekah. 2 nations are in your womb, and the older will serve the younger. It was not favoritism, but prophecy. God's plan was already in motion. One day, Esau returned from the fields exhausted and starving. Jacob was cooking a red stew. Esau groaned, "Give me some of that stew, I'm starving." Jacob's eyes flickered. "Sell me your birthright first." Esau frowned. "Look, I'm dying of hunger. What good is a birthright to me?" And for a single meal, Esau traded something sacred, the blessing that belonged to the firstborn. Esau's hunger wasn't just for food, it showed what lived in his heart. He valued the moment more than the promise. He was strong but careless. Jacob was weak but calculating. Yet God's plan was not fooled by strength or skill. His covenant would pass through the one who sought his promise, though Jacob's heart still had much to learn. Years later, when Isaac grew old and his eyes dimmed, the moment of blessing came, and once again, the struggle between the brothers would rise. But this time, it wouldn't happen in a womb. It would happen at a table. Isaac had grown old, his hair white as sand, his eyes too weak to see. He knew his time was near and called for Esau. "My son, bring me your bow, hunt game for me and prepare my favorite meal. Then I will bless you before I die." Esau smiled and left at once, bow over his shoulder. But Rebekah had heard everything.
"Jacob, listen. I heard your father. He's about to bless Esau. Do as I say. Bring me 2 goats. I will prepare a meal your father loves. You will take it to him and receive the blessing instead."
But Esau is hairy and I am smooth. What if father touches me? He'll think I'm mocking him and curse me. "My son, let the curse fall on me. Do as I say." And so the deceiver entered his father's tent.
"My son, who are you?" "I am Esau, your firstborn. Please, sit and eat so you may bless me." "How did you find it so quickly?" "The Lord your God gave me success."
The lie hung heavy in the air, Jacob trembling as Isaac touches his hands, Isaac's blind eyes closing.
"The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's. He blessed him."
May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness. May nations serve you, and may your brother bow to you. And just as Jacob left, the real Esau entered. "Father, rise and eat, so you may bless me. Who are you? I am Esau, your firstborn. Isaac trembled violently. The truth struck him like thunder. Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing.
Bless me too, Father. Have you only one blessing? Your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother.
Hatred grew in Esau's heart. He swore that when his father died, he would kill Jacob.
Rebekah heard and ran to Jacob. Go, my son, run to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay until Esau's anger cools.
Jacob fled with nothing but the clothes on his back and a blessing he could not undo. Jacob gained the blessing but lost his home. Esau lost the blessing but built a nation of his own, Edom. Both would carry the weight of their choices for years, because blessings taken by deceit bring sorrow before peace. Yet even in their failures, God's promise stood firm. Jacob fled into the wilderness with nothing but a staff and a blessing he could not see. He had gained what he wanted but lost everything he loved. The tents were behind him. The anger of his brother followed. And ahead, only silence. Isaac had known God's promise that the older would serve the younger. But sometimes even men of faith are blinded by what they love. Isaac looked at Esau's strength and thought, surely this is the son who will lead. But God's plan was never about strength. It was about grace. As night fell, Jacob found a stone and placed it under his head. He lay down, his heart heavy with guilt and fear. He had deceived, betrayed, and now ran alone. Yet God had not forgotten him. And then heaven opened. Jacob, I am the God of Abraham and of Isaac. The ground on which you lie, I will give to you and your descendants. Your family will spread across the earth. And through you, all nations will be blessed. I am with you and will never leave you. Jacob woke trembling. He whispered, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. He took the stone, stood it upright, poured oil on top, and named it Bethel, the house of God. Jacob had spent his life grabbing, scheming, and running. But that night, he learned that God's promise didn't depend on his tricks, but on grace. Jacob lied to gain a blessing, but God blessed him anyway, not because he earned it, but because God had chosen him. Isaac tried to bless his favorite. Rebekah tried to help God her way. Jacob tried to take by deceit what God had already promised to give. And yet, through it all, God's grace never failed. Even when we run, God meets us, not to punish, but to remind us. His plan still stands. Jacob stood at Bethel, the morning sun warming the stone he had anointed. The land stretched wide before him, wild, uncertain, and waiting. He lifted his staff and began to walk. He had deceived his brother and fled his home, but God had met him in mercy, not anger. The same hands that shaped the stars would now shape Jacob's heart. The man who once grasped at blessings would learn in time to surrender and be blessed by grace. Jacob left Bethel with a new name whispered in heaven's memory, a name he had not yet heard, Israel. But before he could become the man God intended, he would walk through years of labor, love, and lessons, and the God who met him at Bethel would meet him again.